Happy Wednesday, guys. So today is Wednesday Wisdom, and I would like to talk about something that I realized recently. I know that I briefly mentioned before, um, I have this whole mental and spiritual journey happening as I'm working on my fitness journey. They just kind of go hand in hand because there's a lot of mental growth that goes into it. So the one thing that I wanted to talk about, I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine, Julia, the other day, and sometimes, sometimes I get in like this slump where I start doubting myself and wondering how things are going to come together, and wondering if I'm doing enough, and wondering if what I'm doing is good enough, and like a lot of negative self-talk. And I'll go quite a long time without feeling that way. But I just wanted to bring this up in case any of you guys ever struggle with it. I've been talking with a few of my newer Facebook friends, and it just seems like, I don't know if it getting dark out has anything to do with it. The winter months are a little bit more kind of depressing and they get you down a little bit. But it seems like I've been talking to maybe about 4 different people who have had, kind of like these slumps lately. But I just realized, like, I'm really into law of attraction. I don't know if any of you guys know this, so it kind of goes hand in hand with that. But I realized the things that I'm focusing on, the things I'm giving my energy to, are what grows, what I attract more of into my life. And when I allow myself to stay in that mindset in a slump, it almost makes the situation worse. I know that's obvious, but when it comes to controlling your emotions and controlling your feelings, remembering something like this is really important. I know that I think it was Wednesday to Sunday night last week that I was feeling this way, and it was like I couldn't get out of it. Like, normally I'm really good at being aware and knowing what's going on so that I can change the situation for myself. But for whatever reason, even though I knew what was happening, it was like I didn't have the right energy to switch out of it. It was really strange. It was almost like I knew what was happening, but I couldn't change it, or at least I felt like I couldn't change it, to the point where I didn't know what I should do except for take a break. So I kind of did. I took a break a little bit for more hours throughout the day off of social media than normal. I just focused on myself and working out and trying to get out of my head a little bit. And it wasn't until I talked to my husband and sat down with a book, just to try to clear my head, that I realized, and again, I don't know if you guys saw my video from yesterday or the day before, but it's The Science of Getting Rich. And I read this chapter that talked about the creative process versus the competitive process. And the more I read, the more I could feel that inspired, motivated feeling kind of like switch back on inside of me. And I realized we're all on a different journey. We're all trying to manifest something in our life, whether, something to improve our quality of life, something to make us successful, or something to make us more happy. And when you start to allow yourself to doubt yourself, thoughts of comparison and competitiveness are kind of the underlying reason. Like, when you're in a competitive mindset, you're looking at somebody else. I read this saying recently, and it said, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. And that's kind of like what the competitive process is more about. You're focusing your energy on somebody else, getting there first, or who's already there, or someone else taking yours. And I realized as I was reading that I feel like that was the underlying feeling in my, I know it sounds silly, kind of, I feel like that was part of the underlying feeling as to why I felt like I was in such a downward spiral. It's not like I was comparing myself to any one specific person that was already achieving what I am hoping to achieve. It was more of the hows and the what ifs. It was more of like, how am I going to move forward? You know, I don't see the next step in front of me. It was just one of those slumps where you just feel like you don't know what you're doing. And I couldn't get out of it. It was a lot of hows and what ifs. But that is also a part of the competitive process, because anything where you're not in a state of allowing, anything that kind of disrupts that faith and that process, is going against the creative process. You know what, I think I'm going to start reading a little bit of this book on here, because like I said before, like every paragraph resonates with me, and I can explain more in depth the things that it makes me realize as I go, and hopefully that can help some of you guys. But what I realized about the slump is I wasn't in the creative process. The creative process is this, to me. We're creating our reality as we go, based off of our mindset and our expectations and our beliefs, our belief systems in our brains. So the things you believe, you achieve. And what I was believing was just bringing me more of that negative feeling. You know, I was believing the doubt, you know. The creative process, I picture it this way. As you have faith to move forward towards your goal, that goal is being created for you as you go and being brought closer to you. So if this is me working towards my goal, doing every little thing I can think of, and this is my end result, you know, so like for example, I want to become a professional like bodybuilder, like bikini division bodybuilding, and compete next year. So if I'm focusing on everybody who's already done that and everybody who's already there and putting myself down about not being there, it's going to keep me not there, you know. But if I'm focusing on picturing myself there and working towards that, that is being brought closer to me. Some of this might sound so obvious to you guys, and you might already know this, but again, you know, I have so many aha moments and moments that click with me when I read this book, that it just kind of made me realize, oh my God, I forgot that mine is on its way. You know, I forgot that my end result is being created for me as I go, just me, you know. So, and that's the reassurance that I needed as far as the idea of failure goes. When you think that way, it almost feels like you can't fail. It just feels like if you do have an experience where some would consider failure, it's just a sign that you need to adjust what you're doing a little bit and keep going. And I really needed that reminder. So I don't know if that helps any of you guys, but that is my idea for today's Wednesday wisdom. And it kind of felt like a physical change inside me. It was just like it clicked back on, and I was in that funk for like 3 days, and it just like I remembered that, and it clicked back on that mine is on its way. My end goal and my end result is being created just for me. As I move closer to it, it moves closer to me. And that's why we look out and we see other people doing and having and being what we want, because that's theirs, you know. There's more than enough of that for everybody. You just have to focus on yourself, and you just have to focus on your journey. And I think sometimes, even though you're focusing on yourself, when you're doubting yourself, you know, you're sending out this message to the universe that I don't believe in this, and I don't believe in myself. And if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in the energy that brings you what you want, you know. So I think that's something that I'm not going to forget, you know, next time I come into this funk. Like I said, it felt like I really couldn't control it. It felt like something literally was like off inside me. And then I read that part in the book, and I realized, oh my God, I'm focusing on the competitive process with myself, by telling myself, I don't know how, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, where are the clients going to come from? Am I going to attract the right clients? Or am I going to, what if I miss something? What if I'm not doing it right? What if I'm not doing enough? You know, again, if any of you ever feel this way, don't be too hard on yourself, especially if you're new to this kind of woke way of thinking. You know, don't be too hard on yourself, because you've got how many years of that mental paradigm constantly feeding you ideas and thoughts. You know, I'm 28 years old and I've just started thinking this way a year ago, not even. So I've got like 27 years of mental habits and mental beliefs that are constantly going to keep coming up. Um, so just kind of wanted to throw that out there and hopefully help some of you guys. If any of you are feeling stuck, focus on yourself. Allow yourself to feel good by thinking about where you want to be. It's like daydreaming. It's like daydreaming. Um, and feel good about it. You know, picture the house that you want, or the status that you want, or the job that you want, or the car that you want, or all of it. You know, if you have like a whole list of things, picture yourself already there instead of where you are right now, and allow yourself to feel good that way. And that just brings some more motivation in itself. So that's all I have for today. I will be back on again tomorrow for Thursday thoughts. I'll probably start reading the book a little bit more on camera. But I figured, you know, making this channel to kind of supplement what I'm doing on my other socials can kind of help some of you guys, because I know a lot of the people that I started talking to and attracting and reaching out to have the same mindset as far as spirituality. So hopefully that helps some of you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.